Picture a pole. A good long one, longer than the barn it's racing toward, nose down, flat out, moving faster than anything you have ever watched a thing move. It should not fit. It is plainly too long. Anybody standing in that field can see, at a single glance, that the pole is longer than the barn. And a longer thing does not go inside a shorter thing. That's not even physics. That's just Tuesday.
And yet
it fits. For one single heartbeat, the whole pole is inside. And a farmer slams a door at each end. Front shut, bang and bang. And the pole is sealed inside a barn it has absolutely no business fitting into. Sealed in, both ends shut. Too long pole, too short barn, and it fit anyway, clean, with room to spare.
now, two people are standing there, watching this exact thing happen. The farmer, over by his doors, with a hand on each latch, and someone else, riding along on the pole itself, hanging on for dear life as the whole world smears past them in a blur.
And they both saw it, clear as daylight, with their own two eyes. Both of them are dead certain about what happened. And here's the part that is going to quietly ruin my entire week. They do not agree. Not on some little detail, on the whole thing, on the only thing that matters.
The farmer will swear to you the pole was tucked right inside. Both doors shut on it, not a sliver of daylight showing, no question at all, and he'll walk you over and show you exactly where he was standing. And the rider will look you square in the eye and tell you, every bit as firmly, that the pole never once fit. Never even came within a country mile of fitting.
Same pole, same barn, same afternoon, same sunlight, same everything. And one of them says it fit, and the other says it never fit. And you're going to tell me they're both right, aren't you? I can feel it coming down the tracks. So just tell me straight, one word. Which one of them is lying to me?
Neither one. That's the whole trouble, right there in your lap. Neither one of them is lying to you, and neither one of them is wrong. They are both completely, all the way down, telling you the honest truth.
No, you don't get to drop that on the table and then just let it sit there, smoking, while you sip your tea. A thing either fits inside a box or it does not fit inside a box. That is about the most solid, ground floor, bedrock fact a human being can own. You cannot have that one. I'm putting my foot down.
You would think so, wouldn't you? It's a very reasonable foot to put down.
Right? Okay, so back me up here, slowly, because the last time you sat in that chair, you took my clocks. You sat me down, very calm, hands folded, and told me two people can't even agree on what the word now means. That moving clocks run slow, that the order things happen in comes apart. And fine, I grieved. I made my peace with time being a swamp. Time is a mess. Time is negotiable. I've accepted it. I've moved on with my life.
You've made a full and remarkable recovery, clearly. Very healthy.
But length, no, length I am keeping. That one's mine. A meter stick is a meter stick. A barn is a barn. However weird you want to get with your clocks and your precious now, the ruler in my kitchen drawer is exactly the length that it is. And it stays that length whether I'm looking at it or not. And space just holds still. Sits there, behaves itself. Please, I am asking you, as a friend, tell me space holds still.
It is a genuinely lovely thing to want to bet the whole house on. I understand the impulse completely. Space feels like the floor under everything else. The one stage that doesn't wobble while the actors move around on it. If anything sits still, surely it's that.
That's a no. That is a no, isn't it? Just wearing a much nicer coat than usual so I won't notice it walking out the door with my ruler.
Here's what I'll say in its honest favour, and I do mean it. Out of every single thing you could try to clutch, length is the sane one to pick. It's the last solid thing in the whole room. You can walk it off, heel to toe. You can lay a stick against it. You can drive a nail in and hang your hat on it. If anything at all in this world sits still and stays put and minds its own business, it really ought to be a plain, honest length.
Thank you. Finally, somebody in this building actually understands the man that I am.
I said it was the sane choice to make. I did not, if you listen back, say that it was the winning one.
No, of course you didn't. You never ever do. Go on then, break my heart, but break it slowly.
This was Newton's whole world, you understand. The old, comfortable, sensible one. Space laid out flat, like one enormous, rigid table, exactly the same for everyone, everywhere, holding perfectly still while all the little things slid around on top of it. A length was a length was a length, clear out to the far end of everything. And that picture ran the entire show for a very, very long time. It's the picture in your bones. If I'm honest, it's the picture in mine too. And here is the quietly radical part. Nobody in all those long years had the slightest reason to doubt it, because at the speeds a person actually lives at, a cart, a horse, a thrown stone, the shrink is so unimaginably tiny that no eye and no ruler could ever hope to catch it. The old picture wasn't foolish, it was just the fast story, slowed all the way down until the strangeness fell clean below anybody's notice.
See, I like Newton's world. Newton's world sounds like somewhere a reasonable person could actually build a life. Rigid table, everything stays the length it is, no surprises. Sign me up, I'll put money down on a house there this afternoon.
It is a good world. It's warm and it's sensible. It's just not the one we happen to be standing in. And the fellow who first noticed the difference was Einstein, armed with nothing but those two tiny little rules that you, personally, already signed off on and let me keep last time.
The two rules, okay. Remind me exactly what they were, word for word, because I want to watch your hands very, very carefully this time around. I want to see the precise instant you pick my pocket.
I'll do far better than remind you. I'm going to back you into this whole thing using nothing at all, but the stuff you have already agreed is true. Your clocks, your rules. I'm just going to turn them, gently, quarter turn, and point them at space instead of at time. You'll watch me do the whole thing.
Oh, wonderful. So you're going to use my own clocks against me, my own witnesses, turned for the prosecution.
Your own clocks, your own signature right there at the bottom of the page. You handed me two things last time, and you swore, hand flat on your heart, that both of them were true. Do you want to hear them read back to you, nice and slow?
Go on, read me the contract that I apparently signed in blood.
1. The laws of physics look exactly the same for anybody drifting along at a steady speed. There is no special someone who's really standing still while everyone else is the one moving. Everybody alive gets to call themselves the still one, and nobody can prove them wrong. 2. Light travels at a single speed, and every single person measures that same speed for it, no matter how they themselves happen to be moving. Those two, you signed them both.
I did. Under considerable emotional duress and with a gun to my intuition, but yes, I signed.
And out of just those two, and nothing else, the slow clock fell right out into our laps. Keep lights one speed the same for everyone. Insist on it. Refuse to let it bend even a hair. And a moving clock is forced to tick slow to make room for it. We built that together, brick by brick, last time. No extra ingredients smuggled in the back door.
We did, and I remember the exact moment it started to physically hurt. Thank you for bringing it up again.
Now watch what those same two facts do to a plain, honest length. And I want you watching closely, because here is my promise to you. I am not about to reach for some shiny, brand new law. There isn't one. This is the same engine we already built. The same machinery. The same two rules. I'm just going to run the thing on space this time, instead of on time.
Same engine. All right, my eyes are on your hands. Show me the trick.
Float 2 beacons out in the empty middle of nowhere. Just 2 little lights, sitting a fixed distance apart, not moving relative to each other, quietly minding their own business. And the plain, ordinary gap of space between them. Nothing fancy anywhere. 2 lights, and the distance between the 2 lights. That's the whole apparatus.
2 beacons, 1 gap, empty space. Got it. I'm holding the picture in my head. 2 lights, a stretch of nothing between them.
Now fly a ship from one beacon to the other. Really fly it. Fast, flat out, the way that pole was moving. The ship leaves the first light, crosses the gap, arrives at the second light. A simple trip from here to there.
Okay, ship crosses the gap, beacon to beacon. Still with you. Nothing strange yet.
The 2 beacons just sit there and watch it cross. And from where they float, the trip takes a certain amount of time. It's simply the gap between them divided by how fast the ship is going. Distance divided by speed gives you time. Nothing exotic has walked into the room. It's the arithmetic you do on the back of a napkin.
Distance over speed gives time. You know, that right there is the one single corner of this entire subject that still feels like home to me. That's the one relation I'd actually invite over for dinner.
Then hold on to that feeling. Hold it good and tight. Because we are about to lean the whole weight of the argument square on it. Now, the ship's own clock, ticking away up there in the cockpit. Tell me, what did we agree happens to a moving clock?
It runs slow. From where the beacons are floating and watching, the ship's clock is ticking along all lazy and stretched out and half asleep, slower than their own clocks. We proved that. I signed for that too.
So the ship logs less time for that crossing than the beacons do. Fewer ticks, start to finish, gate to gate. And here's the crucial thing. Everyone agrees on it. When the ship finally pulls up alongside that second beacon, its own clock genuinely reads a smaller number than the beacon's clocks do. Even the ship agrees. The ship isn't being fooled about what its own dashboard says.
Sure, the ship just reads whatever its clock reads. It's not going to sit there and argue with the numbers on its own dashboard. Small number, fine, I'll allow it.
Good. Now, climb aboard. Go on, sit yourself right down in the ship's chair. Get comfortable. And from up there, in that chair, I want you to tell me honestly, how fast are you moving?
Not at all. I'm parked. In my own chair, I am always the one sitting perfectly still. That's rule 1. That's the whole game. You drilled it into me. It's everything else out the window that's doing the moving. The beacons, the stars, all of it.
Exactly so. So from the ship's chair, you are dead still. And now it's the 2 beacons that come tearing past you instead. The first one flies right by your nose. And then, a little while later, the second one whips past you too. They come to you now. You just sit and watch them arrive.
Right, the beacons rush past me, one and then the other, while I sit here in my chair like a king. Okay, I've flipped it around. Beacons moving, me still.
And between those 2 flybys, first beacon at your nose, then second beacon, your clock, the ship's clock, ticked off only that small amount of time. The slow clock amount, the little one. And why? Because up here it is your clock now. It's the one riding along in your lap, the one sitting still with you. So it's the one reading off the short little trip.
So I sit in the chair, I time the 2 beacons going past me on my own honest watch, and I get the small number, the short time, the lazy clock time, except now it's mine.
You get the small number. Now here comes the squeeze. Watch it land. How fast did those 2 beacons go past you, sitting there in your chair?
The same speed. It has to be the same speed. If I'm doing some particular clip toward them, then by all your maddening even-handed logic, they are doing that exact same clip right back toward me. Same speed, both directions. You have hammered that particular fact straight through my skull and out the other side.
So look, very carefully, at what you are now holding in your two hands. The same speed and a smaller time. And speed multiplied by time gives you distance. That's your dinner guest, the one corner that felt like home. Same speed, less time. So the gap between those two beacons, the distance you measure from your chair on the ship, has got to come up short.
And there it is. There it is again. You did the exact same thing to me that you did with the clocks. You just walked it in a circle and stole the distance instead of the time.
There it is. The distance between those two beacons is genuinely, honestly, shorter for the ship than it is for the beacons themselves. Not because anybody fumbled the arithmetic, not because anyone's instruments were foggy or their eyes were tired, but because you, personally, made me keep light's one speed sacred at the very start. And this shortened gap is precisely the bill that comes due for it. Same engine, same machinery, new victim.
The gap shrank. An actual honest distance, just sitting out there in the middle of empty space, minding its own business, bothering no one. Shrank. Because somebody happened to fly past it fast.
A length came up short. And I want to be perfectly clear on this. It's the same machinery that slowed the clock down, not one single new thing added anywhere. 2 rules and 1 slow clock, and the books only balance if the moving length is the short one. Space had to give, exactly the way time gave, and for precisely the same underlying reason. It was never going to be able to hold still. And notice what I did not do anywhere in there. I never once reached for a fresh rule, never invented a new force, never bolted a single new thing onto the world. I took the 2 facts you already believe and the slow clock they already hand you, and I simply followed the arithmetic wherever it wanted to walk. Length came up short because, in the end, it had no other choice left to it.
Okay, but let me pin you down before you wriggle away. Is this any length at all, or is it some spooky special thing that only ever happens to a magic gap between 2 space beacons that you conveniently invented for the occasion?
Any length lying along the motion. Bolt a meter stick to that ship, pointed the way it flies. The beacons measure that stick short too, in exactly the same way, for exactly the same reason. The stick, the gap, the ship itself nose to tail, the rider, the coffee cup in the rider's hand. Anything at all that's moving, measured along the direction it travels, comes up short. It was never about the beacons. It's about motion itself.
Along the direction it travels. Okay. You keep tapping that exact phrase, every single time. Along the motion, along the motion, along the way it's going. Why do you keep hammering that one particular nail into the board? What's hiding under it?
Because it is the piece that everybody drops on the floor and forgets, and it happens to be the piece that carries the whole weight of what's coming next. So hear it clean once. The shrink happens only along the direction of travel, only the way the thing is actually going, and no other direction. Not one, not a little bit, not at all.
Only that way? So genuinely not the other ways? Not up and down, not side to side? Those get a free pass?
Take a rocket screaming past you, left to right. It gets squeezed nose to tail, shortened along the exact line it's flying down. But across it, top to bottom, side to side, its width, its height, its girth, those aren't touched. Not by a hair, not by a whisker, not by the thickness of a single coat of paint. Wide as it ever was.
So it doesn't shrink the way a photograph shrinks, where the whole picture just scales down together, everybody smaller keeps its shape, stays a photo of the same thing. It gets squashed, flattened, but only in one direction, like a big flat hand leaned on it hard from the front.
A rocket that was long and slim goes short and slim. Same width it always had, but stubby now, foreshortened, snub-nosed. And that's the exact thing to hold on to. It is not made smaller, it is made shorter. One direction only, and that one direction is always, always the way it happens to be moving. Turn the rocket and the squeeze turns with it.
Is there a reason it's so weirdly picky about that? Why front to back, but the sideways gets waved right through customs?
Go back to the two beacons for a second. The entire squeeze came out of a time and a speed measured along the path of travel, because that's the only direction the journey ever actually used up. That's the direction the whole trip was made of. But sideways? Nothing is being crossed over there. Nothing is racing past. There's no gap over on the side getting eaten up by the motion. So there is simply nothing over there to come up short. The shrink can only ever touch the direction the motion actually spends itself in.
So the motion only pays its toll in the direction it's actually driving down. It doesn't get charged for the lanes it never even uses.
That is a good deal cleaner than the way I just said it. Go on, take it. It's yours now. I'm not proud. But now brace yourself, because you are about to get suspicious of me all over again.
I'm already suspicious of you. I never stopped. You've got the beacons calling the ship short. Fine, I watched you build every brick of that. But you have sworn to me, up and down, over and over, that all of this is perfectly even-handed. So does the ship get to turn right around and call the beacons short right back at them?
It does. Dead even. Completely symmetric. Exactly, precisely, like the clocks were. Not a whisker of difference between the two directions.
But no, they can't both be short. That's not how short works. One of them is actually the short one, and the other one is just confused, or mismeasuring, or fooled by the motion. Somebody is really short here, and somebody is only imagining that they are. There's a fact.
And that, right there, is the exact thing you have to set down gently on the table and walk away from. There is no actually. Lay it all out with me. The beacons measure the ship's meter stick short. Yes, true, we built it. And the ship measures the beacon's rulers short. The crew looks out the window and sees the beacon's own meter sticks squashed along the motion. Every bit as short as the beacons believe the ship's stick is. Both. At the very same time. Each one honest.
So each one of them is sitting there, pointing across the empty gap at the other one, saying, "No, no, you're the short one." Both of them, pointing, both correct.
Each one, honestly, correctly, carefully, with good instruments, measures the other's rulers as the short ones. And neither is the really short one. There is no really short anywhere in the whole deck of cards. You can shuffle that deck all afternoon and you will never once turn that card over because it simply is not in there. Same fairness as the slow clock. You told me a moving clock runs slow, and I asked you whose, and the only honest answer you could give was, each one says it's the other's. And that answer made you furious then, and it still does now, and it is still, stubbornly, maddeningly, the plain truth of it. Two honest rulers, each one calling the other the short one, and not a single referee anywhere in the whole sky to blow a whistle and settle the argument for good.
And I hated that then, too. I want it entered into the permanent record that I hated it then, and I hate it now, and I will hate it tomorrow.
Duly entered. Then, now, and tomorrow. The clerk has it.
But how does that not just detonate on the spot? If I say your ruler's short and you say mine's short, then surely one of us just walks across the room, we lay the two sticks down next to each other, side by side, honest, flat on the table, and we settle the whole thing once and for all like grown adults.
Ah, But to lay them side by side, you first have to stop. You have to bring them together, both of them at rest, no motion left between you at all. And right there, laid together on the table, they are the same length. They always were. They match perfectly, end to end. The shrink only ever shows up while there is motion between you and the thing you're measuring. Take the motion away, and the whole effect politely tips its hat and vanishes.
So it's not a dent, that's what you're telling me. Underneath it all, you're not actually denting the poor stick, you're not doing damage.
It is not a dent in the stick. Nothing is crushing it. Nothing is straining it. No force anywhere is squeezing it. It is not groaning or bending under any load. It is simply what the word length comes to mean when you and the thing you're measuring are flying apart from one another. Bring them back home to rest together, and every stick is exactly, precisely the length it always was.
So length is a relationship. It's not a fact stamped onto the side of the object at the factory. That is what you're actually telling me, way down at the bottom of all of it.
Length is something that lives in the gap between you and the thing. It is not painted on the object anywhere. You'll never find it there. Move relative to it, and the number you get changes. And the thing itself feels nothing, notices nothing, strains at nothing, is having a perfectly ordinary and uneventful afternoon. It doesn't even know that it's turned up in a physics problem.
My meter stick in my kitchen drawer. Right now, while we're talking.
Sitting still in your drawer, it is exactly the length you believe it to be, down to the very last hair. The only day it ever goes strange on you is the day it's screaming past somebody at a tremendous clip. And to them, along its flight, it's short. And to it, to the stick itself, lying there in the dark, nothing whatsoever has happened. Nothing at all.
The universe just keeps quietly handing me back every single thing I was dead sure was solid, and going, well, compared to what? That's the whole racket, isn't it?
Compared to what? That is the entire whole of relativity, right there, in 3 little words. You could carve it in stone over the front door and never need another sign.
Okay, deep breath. I need you to take me back to that barn now, back to the pole, because after all of that, after the gap and the sticks and the compared to what, I am now genuinely, properly, hands sweating afraid of that barn.
Good. You should be a little afraid of it. It was built, brick by careful brick, for the express purpose of trapping you. That's its entire job in life. Everything we just did was me quietly loading the trap.
So set it up for me right this time. Slow, from the very top, no skipping any steps and no clever hands.
2 things. Both of them real, both of them measured, sitting perfectly still first, before anybody so much as twitches. A pole, and let's say it's a good bit longer than the barn. And a barn with a door at each end, a front door and a back door, both of them able to open and shut. At rest, sat side by side in the field, no motion anywhere, the pole plainly does not fit. It is the longer thing. Everybody agrees on that, standing still in the grass. There's no argument yet, none.
Standing still, pole's too long for the barn. Locked in, everyone shakes hands on it and goes home. Fine.
Now we run the pole clean through the barn, in the front door, out the back door, flat out. Ferociously fast. The exact kind of fast we've been talking about all episode long.
Both doors thrown wide open, pole comes screaming through the middle of the barn and out the far side. Fine. In one door, out the other, whistling.
Both doors open, to start with. But the farmer standing in his barn is going to try something just a little bit cheeky. He is going to wait, a hand poised on each latch, for the exact instant the pole is inside, and then slam both doors at once, front and back together. Bang, bang. Pole sealed in, just for a single heartbeat.
But it's too long. It's the longer thing. We shook hands on it. It can't possibly.
In the barn's telling, it fits. The pole is flying, so along its motion it is short. You proved that to me yourself 10 minutes ago with your own 2 beacons. Contracted, squashed nose to tail. Short enough that, for one single heartbeat, the whole thing is tucked entirely inside the barn. Nose still short of the back door, tail already swept in past the front. And bang! The farmer slams both doors with the pole completely, wholly, snugly inside. It fit. He watched it fit with his own 2 eyes. He's got it on film.
The contracted pole actually fits inside the barn. The too long pole is, for one instant, genuinely a short enough pole. It's not a trick.
Snug as anything you like. Both doors shut, pole hanging there in the middle, not so much as grazing either one of them. The farmer is absolutely over the moon about it. This is, no exaggeration, the finest day of the farmer's entire life.
And then what? Because the pole is still moving. It doesn't just stop out of politeness and hang there in the barn admiring the rafters.
And then the back door flings straight open again, and the pole shoots out the far side, none the wiser, off across the field and away. But the point has been well and truly made, and made on film. There was a moment, both doors shut, both of them, at once, pole boxed entirely inside a barn that has no earthly right to hold it. In the barn's story, plain and filmed and finished, the barn won.
Okay, but you promised me the rider disagrees, and not politely, so let's hear from the rider. Get me up on that pole.
Oh, the rider. Right. Climb on up, hold tight, it's a wild ride. From up there, the pole isn't moving at all. It is the good, honest, full length it always was. The long one, the too long one, not squashed one bit. It's the barn that comes charging at the pole now. And a moving barn is…
Short. The barn's the short one now, even shorter than it was sitting still out in the field, because now the barn's the one doing all the moving, and moving things come up short. I see where this is going, and I already don't like it.
Even shorter. A barn that was already far too small to hold the pole is now contracted smaller still. Squashed down, stubby, snub, and it comes tearing straight at a pole that is longer than it has ever been. And there is no universe, none, not one anywhere, in which that pole fits inside that barn. It simply cannot. The rider watches the nose of the pole burst clean out the back door, while the tail end of the pole hasn't even reached the front door yet.
So from up on the pole, there is never one single instant where the whole thing is inside the barn.
Never. Not for the thinnest imaginable sliver of a moment. Both ends of that pole are never, ever between the 2 doors at the same time. The thing is always sticking out one end, or the other end, or frankly both ends at once. The rider will tell you, flat and calm and dead certain, it did not fit. It was never even close to fitting. It just streamed straight on through. And here is the knife going in. The rider is using the exact same rules you just made me prove to you. Down to the very letter, not one rule different. And that's the part that ought to keep you up tonight. Not that one of them is confused, but that neither one of them is. Same rules, same care, same honesty on both sides, and still one walks away with "it fit," and the other with "it never did." The trap has snapped clean shut on you, and the worst of it is, you are standing right in the middle of it.
So now I've got 2 people. The farmer. Both doors shut, pole inside, it fit. I've got it on film. Best day of my life. The rider. The pole was longer than ever. It never once fit. It blew straight through my wide-open barn. And you are sitting there, calm as anything, telling me that both of them did the physics perfectly correctly.
Both of them did it perfectly. No mistake anywhere in either account. Not a dropped step, not a fudged figure, not a single thumb resting on any scale. Two flawless calculations run by two honest people. One of them landing on "it fit," the other landing on "it didn't." Both airtight.
That is not a, weird, neat little puzzle result. That is a flat, naked contradiction. It fit and it did not fit. Those two cannot both be true of the same pole and the same barn on the same afternoon in the same field. One of them has to be actually, really, underneath everything else, right. There has to be a fact of the matter.
Say that last part back to me. Slower this time. The little bit in the middle, just now, where you said, "at once."
What, where I said, the farmer slammed both doors at once?
That one. At once. Hold on to that. Turn it over slowly in your hands and really look at it. Because that innocent little "at once" is the whole entire trick. That is exactly, precisely, where this paradox has been quietly hiding its coin the entire time that you've been staring at it.
At once, both doors. One single moment. That's, oh no. You're about to take "at once" away from me too, aren't you? The exact same way you took "now" from me last time. I walked right into it.
I took "now" away from you last time, right out in the open, and you watched me do the whole thing. This is only that same bill coming quietly due. You knew it was coming.
Okay, walk it, slowly, and no sudden moves with your hands. Where is the coin exactly?
Look hard at what the farmer actually, physically did with his two hands. It wasn't one thing. It was two things. The front door slams. That is one event, at one end of the barn. The back door slams. That is a second, separate event, at the other end of the barn. Two separate events. Two different places. The two opposite ends of the same building.
Two door slams, two events, two places, one at each end. Okay, I'm holding exactly two events. With you.
And the farmer says those two events happened at the same time. Both at once, front and back together, one instant. And that, both at once, is the only reason, the single only reason, the pole was ever trapped in the first place. For the pole to be sealed in, both of those doors have to be shut in the very same instant. One shared moment, or there's no box.
Right, because if they're not shut in the same instant, if there's any gap at all between the two slams, however small, then there's never actually a sealed pole at all. There's just a pole going through a barn past two doors that happen to be closing near it.
Now, tell me, what did we learn last time together about two events sitting at two different places that happen at the same time?
That at the same time doesn't travel, that it isn't universal, that somebody moving past sees those two very same events happen in a different order entirely. It comes apart. Oh, you absolute... It's the doors, isn't it?
There it is. That's the coin, right there in your open palm. Been there the whole time. The two door slams happen at the same time for the barn, and they do not happen at the same time for the pole. For the rider up on the pole, those two doors do not slam together at all. One of them slams, and then, well after, the other one slams. There is a gap between them, a real one.
So which door goes first, for the rider? Give me the order. I want the order.
The far door. The one the pole's nose is racing toward. That one slams first, and springs right back open again, in perfect time to wave the nose on through. So the nose sails straight out into the open air on the far side, free and clear.
Before the other door has even shut? The near one, behind?
Long, long before. Only later, with the nose already gone, already out and away and halfway down the field, does the near door finally swing shut behind the pole's tail. And by the time that near door clicks closed, the far door has already been standing wide open again for a good long while. Two slams. Never both of them shut at the same moment. Never, at any single instant, a sealed pole. The pole just streams straight through. A barn winking one door and then the other, around a pole that never once stops for either of them. Picture it as slow as you can bear. The far end of the pole spearing out into open daylight, while the near end is still back out in the grass. The two doors politely taking their little turns. This one, and then that one, and the pole gliding straight on through the whole performance without ever, for one instant, being caught between the two of them.
So the farmers, both at once,
Is the farmer's. Completely, unshakably, provably true. For the farmer. For the rider, it's this one, and then that one, with the pole flowing clean through the gap in between the two slams. And here's the part to really hold. Both doors do slam. Each door slams exactly once. Nobody is inventing a slam. Nobody is missing a slam. They simply do not agree on whether it was one shared moment or two separate ones.
and that single disagreement, just the timing of the two slams, that is the whole entire paradox. That's the whole thing. It was never anything more than that.
That is the whole entire thing. The paradox quietly smuggled in the universal at once. One single shared now that both of them were supposed to hold in common, like a coin they both kept in the very same pocket. And there is no such shared pocket. There never ever was. Take that shared now back out of the problem, and the whole contradiction just evaporates off the table like breath off a cold window. There was never actually anything there to contradict.
But, okay, I have to ask the question, even though I'm now openly, sweatily frightened of your answer. Did it fit? Actually, really? When you peel every single point of view away and get right down to the bare bones of what physically happened out there in that field, did the pole fit inside the barn, or did it not? One or the other.
There's no answer waiting for you down there. And I want to be really clear about this. That's not me ducking the question, and it's not me being coy or clever. There is genuinely no fact of the matter about whether it really fit. The question runs clean out of road before it ever gets anywhere near an answer.
There has to be, though. There has to be some real answer underneath the two stories about what physically actually happened to the physical pole inside the physical barn. The stories are just stories people tell about the one underlying fact.
But why must there be? Sit with what it fit even means all the way down. It fit is exactly, precisely, both doors were shut with the pole inside at the same moment. And at the same moment is the one single thing that has no universal answer. So the fitting was never a standalone fact sitting off quietly by itself. It was always, the whole time, leaning its entire weight on a shared now. And that shared now does not exist. Pull it out from under, and there is simply nothing left standing underneath to be either true or false. There's no flaw down there.
So the farmer's story and the rider's story.
Both complete, both correct. And neither one of them is the real account, with the other laid over the top of it as some kind of illusion or mistake. The farmer is not seeing it the way it really is, while the poor rider gets fooled. Nobody in that field is fooled. Nobody. They both watched the same afternoon, honestly, start to finish, every single frame, and they disagree about exactly one thing: the order of two door slams. Which I already warned you last time is not a thing the universe hands out one answer for. So when you ask me to pick the winner, you are asking me which of two true stories is the true one, and the question just quietly crumbles to dust in my hand. There is no seat up above that field for a judge to sit in. There is the barn's honest account, and there is the pole's honest account, and there is the wide empty sky where you badly wanted a referee to be standing.
This is the part where I badly want to say something like, so reality is just, whatever you want it to be, man. It's all relative. Nothing is real. And I can feel physically in my spine that you are winding all the way up for it.
I'll hit you gently because I like you. But no, this is the exact precise opposite of anything goes. Both frames are pinned down hard, objective, rigid, iron. There is no wiggle room in either one of them. The farmer's account is fully determined. Every door, every instant, every latch nailed shut tight. The rider's account is every bit as nailed down. Neither one of them gets to say whatever they happen to feel like saying. Each is forced, exactly, down to the last detail, by the very rules you signed.
So it's not squishy. It's not the mushy hippie thing I was about to embarrass myself by saying out loud on a recording.
It is not squishy in the very slightest. It is not that there's no truth here to be found. It's that there are two complete, rigid, ironclad truths, and the two of them were simply never required to agree with each other about the order of two far apart events. That is the only freedom anywhere in the whole system, and even that isn't really free. It's fixed precisely by exactly how the two of them are moving.
So it's not less solid than I wanted it to be, it's doubly solid. It's twice as much fact as I even asked for. It's just not single. There are two of it, standing side by side.
Doubly solid, yes. I am going to keep that one. That's a good one. Two honest accounts of one single afternoon, each one airtight, each one forced, each one true, sharing every last detail all the way down the line, except for one word. Meanwhile. That's it. That's the whole resolution right there. Doubly solid and never single.
I keep bracing for the ground to be there under my foot, and it just keeps not being there when I put my weight down. Time bent on me last time, now length bends on me. Simultaneity's gone out the window. What is actually going on down at the very bottom of all this? What is holding the whole thing together, if none of that is?
Step back and look at the trade the two of them just made. To fit the pole inside, the barn's frame spent length. The pole went short. To keep the pole out, the pole's frame spent simultaneity. The two door slams came apart in time, one and then the other. One frame pays in space, the other frame pays in time. Two different currencies out of two different pockets. And with them, the two of them buy the exact same thing.
The same thing being what, exactly? What are the two of them both actually buying with all that?
Light. That one, single speed, the same for everyone, in every frame, no exceptions ever. The one that you, personally, made me swear to hold sacred at the very start of all of this. Every last piece of what we've done today, the slow clock, the short ruler, the two doors that won't agree on their timing. Every bit of it is the universe quietly rearranging space and time, trading one off against the other, spending a length here and a simultaneity there. All so that no matter who you are or how you happen to be moving, you clock light at that one, same, unbudging speed. It's a speed that nothing with any weight to it can ever quite catch either. But that's a whole story for another day, and I won't spoil it here.
So space and time aren't two separate stages that the whole show just happens to get performed on. They're not the boards under the actors.
They aren't two separate things at all. That's the real thing to walk out of this room holding tonight. They bend into one another. Lean your weight on one of them, and the other one quietly gives to compensate. Squeeze a length here, and simultaneity slips a little over there to make up the exact difference. They are the give and the take of one single fabric, and that fabric stretches.
The elastic universe. That's it. That's the name. That's where the whole season's name has been hiding this entire time, waiting for today.
That is exactly where it's been hiding, and today is the day it finally, properly earns it. The universe will happily trade you a length for the order of 2 events and call the whole swap fair and square and shake your hand on it. Stretchy, elastic, generous even, it gives you back exactly as much as it takes from you to the last drop. But it is never, ever loose or careless about the one single thing it is actually, quietly in the business of protecting. Squeeze it here and it bulges there. Steal a length from it and it quietly hands you back a slippage in the timing of 2 events, exact change every single time, right down to the last coin. That is what the word elastic is really carrying here. Not floppy, not vague, not anything goes, but springy and exact, giving up in one place precisely and only what it takes in the other.
And this whole time, I want to make absolutely sure I've got this straight, it's all been steady motion. Nobody speeding up, no engines burning, no lurching, just coasting.
Just coasting. Steady, level, flat. No gravity anywhere in the picture. Nobody so much as touching a throttle. Nobody getting flung around a corner. 2 things drifting past one another at a plain, steady clip. And the entire paradox, the whole airtight, weak-ruining thing, grows out of nothing more than that. It is the very simplest case there is. And just look at how strange it already is before we've bolted on a single extra complication.
Okay, so here's what's eating me now. Standing here in the smoking wreckage of everything I believed this morning. If 2 honest people can't agree on how long the pole is, or how long the trip took, or even which door slammed first, is there anything left? Anything at all that every single observer, in every single frame, finally agrees on? Or is it just disagreement? Turtles of disagreement all the way down forever and ever.
There's something.
Wait, there's something. After all of that, after everything you've taken from me tonight, there's actually something that everybody agrees on?
There's one thing. Everybody, no matter how they're moving, no matter which of the 2 stories they happen to be telling you, agrees on it. Exactly. Right down to the letter. And here's the genuinely beautiful part, the part I've been saving. You only ever find it once you stop treating space and time as 2 separate things you can argue about one at a time.
And you start weaving them into one single thing, the 2 things that nobody could agree on all season long.
Weave space and time together into a single cloth, and out of it, right out of the middle of it, drops one number that every observer shares. A single stitch made of space and time together that no amount of motion can ever pull loose, or stretch, or shrink, however hard it hauls. And here's the twist of the whole knife. All those disagreements you've been collecting all season, the clocks and the rulers and the doors, they were only ever the shadow of that one shared thing, seen from a lot of different angles.
You've got a name for it. I can hear it in your voice. You are sitting on a name right now, this very second, and you are enjoying it far too much.
I have absolutely got a name for it, but it is the whole of next time, and it genuinely deserves the room to breathe. I am not going to cram it into the last 2 minutes and cheapen the thing.
Then just give me the shape of it. Not the whole thing. I'm not greedy. I'm not asking for the whole thing tonight. Just the silhouette, the outline in the fog. Enough to sleep on.
The shape is this. Every single disagreement we have hit this whole season, the slow clocks, the short rulers, the doors slamming out of order, every one of them quietly settles down and behaves itself the moment you stop asking how much space and how much time as 2 separate questions and start asking about the 2 of them braided together as one. There's a picture that holds all of it at once. Light itself drawing the boundary line through it, splitting the past from the future, the reachable from the forever out of reach, and sitting right inside that picture, one single quantity that every observer alive measures exactly, precisely, the same. And once you have properly seen it, you will not be able to unsee it. The slow clock, the short ruler, the doors slamming out of order, all three of them snapping into place as three different views of that one steady thing. The way three shadows of a single object can look like three completely different shapes, and still, every one of them, be cast by the very same stone.
Space and time, braided together into one thing. And out of it, at the center, one thing everyone finally agrees on. Stitched, somehow, out of the exact two things that nobody could agree on all season. That's a hell of a trick.
That is the door we walk through next time. We stop treating space and time as two separate stages, and we finally admit, the way the universe has been patiently trying to tell us all along, that they were one single fabric the whole way through. And this entire elastic, shape-shifting, ground-stealing mess turns out to have something solid, at last, sitting right there in the very middle of it, waiting.
So after taking absolutely everything else away from me tonight, the clocks, the rulers, the order that things happen in, the plain flat fact of whether a pole fit in a barn, after all of that, you're standing there telling me there's one solid thing. One. Waiting for me at the end of the whole road, you're sure.
One. And I promise you, hand on my heart this time, it is well worth the wait.
All right, I am holding you to that and I'm writing it down so I can wave it in your face. The pole fit, and it didn't. The barn won, and it didn't. And somehow through the whole ridiculous, impossible afternoon, nobody lied and nobody was wrong. Two honest people, one impossible field, doubly solid, never single. And next time you are going to braid space and time together and finally, hand me back one single thing I can actually stand on. So, next time, space time, I'll bring a stick I trust. See you then.